All right, folks, buckle up because on today's Hogwash Heroes, we're tackling one of the strangest ongoing mysteries in the science world right now. Since around 2023, at least 10 American scientists, engineers, and high level researchers tied to NASA, nuclear programs, space defense, asteroid tracking, fusion energy, and even UFO related work have either died under murky circumstances or straight up vanished without a trace. No clear pattern has been proven, but the timeline is eerie. The connections to classified projects are real, and the White House just started publicly acknowledging it. We're going to walk through each one in chronological order, name them, what they worked on, who they worked for, and exactly what we know about when and how they went missing or were found dead. Let's build this timeline together. First up, back in 2023, Michael David Hicks. He was a longtime NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientist who spent over 2 decades at JPL, publishing more than 80 papers on the physical properties of comets and asteroids. He was part of the team on NASA's DART mission, the one that successfully slammed a spacecraft into an asteroid to test planetary defense. Hicks left JPL in 2022 and died in 2023 at age 59. No public cause of death was ever released, and at the time, it barely made headlines. But now, with everything else piling up, people are revisiting his case. Jump ahead to July 4th, 2024. Frank Maywald, senior scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He led development on instruments for planetary missions, including breakthroughs designed to detect signs of life on distant worlds like Jupiter's moon Europa, Saturn's moon Enceladus, and even dwarf planet Ceres. He worked on projects like the Surface Biology and Geology Instrument and others scanning for extraterrestrial biosignatures. Maywald died in Los Angeles at age 61. No cause of death was disclosed, and reports say no autopsy was performed. Again, very little official detail. Now we hit 2025 and things accelerate. May 4th, 2025, Anthony Chavez, former employee at Los Alamos National Laboratory, one of the crown jewels of U.S. nuclear weapons research since the Manhattan Project. He vanished while out walking in New Mexico, left his car locked in the driveway, no wallet, no keys, no phone, everything still inside the house. Exhaustive searches turned up nothing. His exact role is still under wraps, but Los Alamos work is all classified nuclear and national security tech. Just weeks later, June 22nd, 2025, Monica Jacinto Reza, senior aerospace engineer and former technical fellow at Aerojet Rocketdyne with direct ties to NASA JPL projects. She was a leading expert in advanced rocket propulsion materials and co-invented Mondaloy, a nickel-based superalloy for next-generation rocket engines that helps cut reliance on foreign components. She disappeared while hiking near Mount Waterman in California with friends, vanished in broad daylight, just yards from the group. Helicopters, drones, search dogs, nothing. No trace ever found. 4 days after that, June 26th, 2025, Melissa Casillas, administrative professional at Los Alamos National Laboratory with top security clearance. She was last seen walking alone along State Road 518 in New Mexico. She left her vehicle, keys, work phone, personal phone, wallet, purse, everything behind. Both phones had been wiped to factory settings. Surveillance caught her walking eastbound, but that's it. No updates from investigators months later. August 28th, 2025. Stephen Garcia, a government contractor at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which manufactures non-nuclear components for America's nuclear weapons arsenal. He left his Albuquerque home on foot with nothing but a handgun. No phone, no keys, no wallet. Vanished completely. Again, ties straight into classified nuclear production. December 12th, 2025. Jason Thomas, Assistant Director of Chemical Biology at the pharmaceutical giant Novartis. His work focused on complex biochemical systems, including testing cancer treatments. He disappeared, and his body was later found in a Massachusetts lake on March 17, 2026. Police have said no foul play is suspected and pointed to personal struggles, but the timing keeps him on every list. Just 3 days later, December 15th, 2025, Nuno Loureiro, director of MIT's Plasma Science and Fusion Center and one of the world's top experts in plasma physics and nuclear fusion energy. His research tackled the extreme conditions inside fusion reactors, work with huge implications for clean energy and potentially advanced propulsion. He was shot in his home, died the next day. The suspect was someone he knew from university decades earlier, who later died by suicide. Motive still unclear. February 16th, 2026. Carl Grillmeyer, renowned Caltech astrophysicist who spent 30 years there, including major work on NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope and infrared astronomy projects. He specialized in galactic structures, stellar streams, and asteroid tracking, data that also feeds into Air Force satellite and missile systems. He was shot and killed on the porch of his rural home. A suspect was arrested after a carjacking and burglary spree, but investigators say the two didn't know each other and the motive remains a mystery. And finally, just 11 days later, February 27th, 2026, retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland. He was the former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, overseeing billions in advanced aerospace, space vehicles, weapons tech, and materials research, including projects linked to Monica Reza's rocket work. He's also been tied in public discussion to the UFO research community and classified programs. McCasland vanished from his New Mexico home. He left all his devices behind, but took a pistol. His wife said he seemed determined not to be found. A silver alert is still active. No trace. Folks, that's our timeline. From a quiet 2023 death to a string of 2025 disappearances clustered around nuclear and propulsion experts, then the violent deaths and final vanishing in early 2026. Every single person was plugged into America's most sensitive space, nuclear, or defense research pipelines. The White House press secretary just addressed it this week, saying they're looking into the cases but don't have answers yet. Coincidence? Targeted hits? Bad luck in a high-stress field? Or something weirder tied to the classified worlds they inhabited? We may never get the full story, but the pattern is impossible to ignore. What do you think is really going on here? Drop your theories in the comments or hit me up on X. I read every single one. All right, we just laid out that eerie timeline of 10 American scientists, engineers, and one retired Air Force general who've died or vanished since 2023, all tied to NASA, JPL, Los Alamos, nuclear programs, fusion, advanced propulsion, asteroid tracking, and defense research. But here's where it gets even weirder. The internet, and now even some mainstream outlets, are lighting up with theories that UFOs, or UAPs as the Pentagon calls them, might be the missing link. Not saying it's true, but the connections people are drawing, they're impossible to ignore. Let's break down the UFO angles on each of these cases, because the speculation is everywhere right now. Start with the one that's got everyone talking. Retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland. He commanded the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the same place UFO lore has claimed for decades holds Roswell crash debris and exotic materials. Back in 2016, WikiLeaks dropped those Podesta emails where musician-turned-UFO advocate Tom DeLonge straight-up named McCasland as a key insider. DeLonge said he'd been working with the general for months, that McCasland knew exactly what was going on with the project, and that he'd helped assemble an advisory team for what became To the Stars Academy. DeLonge even referenced Roswell and Wright-Pat directly. McCasland's wife has pushed back hard, saying he doesn't have special knowledge about ET bodies or debris, but she's also admitted he associated with the UFO community. He vanishes February 27th, 2026, leaving his phone, glasses, and watch behind, but taking a pistol. Silver alert still active. Coincidence? Or did the guy who allegedly knew too much about non-human tech just walk into the Sandia Mountains and disappear? Now zoom in on Monica Jacinto Reza, the aerospace engineer who vanished hiking near Mount Waterman in June 2025. She co-invented Mondaloy, that nickel-based superalloy for next-gen rocket engines designed to handle insane heat and cut reliance on foreign materials. Her work was funded through the Air Force Research Laboratory, the exact lab McCasland used to run. Some researchers are pointing out that advanced propulsion tech like hers gets whispered about in UAP circles as the kind of material science that could explain the impossible flight characteristics we keep seeing on video, things that don't melt under the kind of acceleration reported. She disappears in broad daylight, yards from her hiking buddies. No trace. Helicopters, dogs, drones, nothing. The professional overlap with McCasland has the UFO crowd going full throttle. The NASA JPL crew gets pulled in too. Michael David Hicks, comet and asteroid expert on the DART planetary defense mission, dies in 2023 at 59 with no cause released. Frank Maywald, who built instruments hunting for biosignatures on Europa, Enceladus, and Ceres, dies July 4th, 2024. Also no cause, no autopsy. Their work? Scanning the solar system for signs of life and tracking near-Earth objects. Conspiracy folks say asteroid defense isn't just about rocks. It's dual use for spotting or intercepting UAP. Caltech's Carl Grillmeier spent decades on Spitzer infrared astronomy and stellar streams that feed straight into Air Force satellite and missile tracking systems. Shot on his porch in February 2026. Motive still a mystery. Then you've got the nuclear and fusion side. Los Alamos guys Anthony Chavez and Melissa Casillas vanished with cars locked, phones wiped, everything left behind. Stephen Garcia from the Kansas City nuclear components plant walks out with just a handgun and is gone. MIT's Nuno Loureiro, plasma physics god running the fusion center, shot in his home days after McCasland's vanishing. Fusion research? That's the holy grail for clean energy, but also for the kind of exotic propulsion some claim powers UAPs. Novartis biologist Jason Thomas, working on complex biochemical systems, body found in a lake months later. Even that gets spun as possible ties to reverse engineering programs that might involve non-human biology. My loyal watchers, the pattern people keep hammering is this. Every single one of these folks had their hands in America's most classified pipelines: space, nukes, advanced materials, energy systems that could explain or replicate the tech we see in UAP reports. Wright-Patterson, Roswell rumors, Podesta emails, to the stars, congressional hearings on UAP reverse engineering. The White House just said they're looking into the whole cluster. No proven links, no smoking gun, but the timing and the overlaps are fueling theories that these people knew something about non-human intelligence programs, or were getting too close to blowing the lid off. Is it a coordinated hit by some shadow group protecting secrets, bad luck in high-risk jobs, or something genuinely extraterrestrial cleaning house? We've got Avi Loeb commenting, Ross Coulthart calling it utterly absurd to downplay, and Reddit threads exploding with UAP scientists vanishing from secret reverse engineering programs. The data points are stacking up in a way that demands we ask the question, what's your take? UFO-related silencing, or just the universe's darkest coincidence? Hit the comments, tag me on X. This is Dr. Hogwash, keeping it real and keeping it weird on this episode of Hogwash Heroes. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and whatever you do, don't go hiking alone if you've got a patent on super alloys. Until next time, Dr. Hogwash, out.